you ever wondered which type of release you should be doing, whether it's a body release or whether it's the hands release? There's multiple ways you can do it, but really it can be categorized into two. But the thing is, if you get it wrong, for you, you're going to suffer. Let's find out what you need to do, whether it's a body release, which is more passive with the hands, okay, where we're turning, which you might see the tall pros do a little bit more, okay, or we're going to have more of a rotation where we're allowing the hands to cross over and using the wrist. If you get it wrong, you're going to be screwed. If you get it right, you're going to see it fly. Let's find out how. Hi, Alex Forte. This is the Art of Simple Golf. Now, there are two key ways that you can release the golf club. If you get it wrong, you're stuffed, as I said. Number one, which we're going to cover, is perhaps a bit more like what you're seeing online, what the tour pros are doing, you know, the tour pro analysis and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you can't generate the speed and athleticism by doing a body release, you're going to get so frustrated. You really are. Let me know actually below if you've been trying to do that. And if you're not sure what it is, this is it. In essence, really simply. We take the club back, but what we're going to do is actually sort of almost preset the wrist, excuse the pun, we're going to preset the wrists to allow the delivery of the club to be more about the body. From here, all I'm doing is, amongst other things, rotating, okay, clearing myself out the way to deliver the club back. And then through, if you walk around here, you'll see it. I'm going to go in slow motion, but nothing is really changing in my wrist angles and clearing that way. And people like that because there's less manipulation, okay? Because just from the, halfway back as we're entering the impact zone, we pull through, the left side is going this way, we're pulling through, and nothing is really altering or changing. So it is a consistent way to deliver the club and get through the ball. But if you can't sort of move quickly in that sense, if you can't rotate quickly and hold the club off here with power, if you will, you're going to end up with swings that look a little bit like, where you're trying to use the body and you're like that. It's not generating the speed. Done right, it can be very effective, of course it is. But you have to get the movement correct. And this is how you practice it. You practice it by entering the sort of impact zone here. Then we are pulling everything through and around, holding on to those wrist angles. And the sort of drill to sort of see if you can do it well is sort of preload here, okay? And then as we turn, we don't use the hands, we use the body to swing through, right? That's what we're trying to accomplish. Now, a couple of other ways you can do it, okay, is, let's say you put the club in your belly here. All right, you're going to put the club in your belly, just sort of above your belly button. I'm going to grip halfway down. What I'm going to do is sort of small takeaway, but I'm going to use my body to turn through and get my chest up to the sky. It's a wonderful move here, but you'll notice I'm not going to be able to generate that much speed with that. So here's where you have to ask yourself, when you have that sort of body release, that sort of body turn here, how much speed are you sacrificing by doing that? If you don't have that athletic ability, if you can't clear yourself out the way enough, if you can't wind the core and turn around the corner this way quick enough, your shots are going to suffer, especially distance-wise. And then because you're suffering distance-wise, you're just going to try and do it sort of faster and harder, and it doesn't work like that. Then you'll screw up your swing sequence, okay? Now, the body release is fantastic. I just want to sort of make you aware of how to do it a little bit, which is presetting the wrist, then we're rotating all the way through, and the alternative, which might be just a little bit easier for many of you. So, The alternative is the arm release, the hand release, okay? Not so much the body release. Basically, that means we are using the wrist hinge and wrist hinge. You might know that one of the oldest sort of swing tips is swing to the L, back to square, swing to the L, okay? I like this for many of you because too many of you are over, dominant with your bodies. You're trying to sort of muscle it this much, trying to sort of swing like that. The body release, if you will, okay? I prefer many of you to, if you're going to go one way or the other, the arm release is going to help a lot of you because it's more natural. We've got the supple wrist here, but what the key we're looking for is how the hands are sort of going to finish and complete this way, okay? As opposed to the body release, we're holding it off. See, the hands are sort of above the club, but when we allow the wrist to go, we're hitting that L spot. And it's kind of like we're turning a steering wheel this way. We're turning the steering wheel here. It might help if I use the bucket to sort of demonstrate that, but we're using the bucket to turn the wheel, and we're turning the wheel back that way. That, for one thing, is going to help a lot of you square the club face instead of holding it off and getting rid of that weak slice. But it's also going to do one of the most important things, which is release, which is throw it that way, okay? If we're trying to hold off in that manner, you're going to suffer. But if you try and throw this water over there, you're going to get through it a lot easier, basically. At least that's the goal. So when you try this, rehearse with the bucket, with the steering wheel, and just try and feel that kind of little release a little bit there. Okay, just allow the hands to wrap over just a little bit more. And you should find that you get a little bit more zip where it counts with a little less effort. And the more you kind of get used to that, the more you practice that, and that checkpoint of L to L, okay, with the grip pointing down towards the ball, we are not, okay, you got to note this, we are not sort of flipping the club up that way, okay, we're not hinging the wrist in that manner, we're not doing this, we are allowing them to hinge just like you're sort of holding an umbrella that way. I would hold an umbrella there, I wouldn't hold an umbrella like this or like this, it would just be there. That's the feeling that you want. A wonderful little drill you can do is place a club, any iron can work, but the longer the better, you might find. But we're just going to sort of place the club out in front of us here, we're resting on it, and what I'm going to do is throw underneath, okay? I'm going to throw underneath that way. But I need you to focus on something here. We cannot just stop everything. We can't stop the lower body, we can't stop the legs, the core, we can't just sort of do it with the hands. I mean, you can, but you don't really want to. And this is where I prefer the kind of hybrid thought to say, okay, we're going to release the hands like we would a throw, but we are still going to allow a little bit of clearing to happen. We're still going to feel like we're opening up just a hair that way, okay? It's still allowing release, but we're not getting in our own way. We're still making sure that we get through the ball. And that's the key, is finding that blend to just get through the ball, to release, to whip the club through with minimal effort, but to be free and open. That's it. It really is that simple. Let me know if you've got any questions about which release is going to be the right one for you. Let me know if you've got any questions about whether it's the arm release, whether it's the body release. We're going to go into more detail on those, but I just sort of wanted to compare the two so you can say, that's a bit more like me, that one's not. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. And if you haven't already, like the video and check out the free series in the free link below. Cheers. See you next time.